Hello everybody, I'm Yvette of Uniquely Yvette. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back. On this channel, I'm not an expert. I'm not teaching you to do anything really. What I'm doing is inspiring. Most of the time, I'm trying to figure it out as I go, as I'm filming. Don't know if what I'm doing will work out until the end. What I am doing is finding something I like on Pinterest, on Etsy, on the internet, wherever that interests me. I try to figure out how to make what I see on there. If it's another medium that the person has used, I would just take the idea and create what they did out of wood. That's what I do here, okay? It's just to get your creative juices flowing. It's something to give you to watch on YouTube. I hope you like the channel. I hope you like what I do. And thanks for stopping by. So this week, what I'm doing is this turtle. I'm marrying two different ideas I saw, so I'm hoping it'll work out. I'm not even sure. I'm still trying to figure out how to make it work, but I figure sometimes I just can't see in my head how to do it, so I just say, let's get started and figure out as we go along, okay? Thanks for stopping by. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. Come on back again for the next project. And comment below, tell me what you think as we get into this project. Let's go. I'm using a 1/4 inch thick plywood for this project as the backer board. I've used a template that I put together from my computer and printed out. And I used carbon paper to trace it onto this board. This is a turtle, as you can clearly see. Now, I'm going to be covering this backer board turtle shape with some pieces of wood put in a certain design and coloring and all that kind of jazz. You could actually start out with these long strips of wood. I think they're 6 feet long that you can get from Home Depot and Lowe's, and they're called lath, L-A-T-H. And they're usually about a 1/4 inch thick. They're 1.5 inches wide this way, and they're 6 feet long, and you can cut them. I'm going to be using pieces like this size, I think. This has 45-degree angles cut on each end. And this part right here, this shorter side, is 2 inches in length. And I'm going to be placing them onto the board in a certain pattern. I actually don't have any lath, so I'm just using a random piece of wood I have. I'm going to use a table saw to cut it to 1.5 inches wide. And then I'm going to use the planer to plane it down to be as thin as these. I ended up planing this down thinner than a 1/4 inch thick, so, but that's okay. Lath would work perfectly. If it's a 1/4 inch thick, that's good. I just give you that measurement because I don't know exactly how thick this is. So as you can see, this is about, I guess, a 1/2 inch thick. And so I'm going to plane it down after I cut it, and then we're going to cut this piece into little pieces like these. All right, I have my miter saw set to 45 degrees. I'm going to cut off this first little bit. So there it is. This is one of the pieces I've already planed down. So I've cut the 45 degree here, and all I do is flip it over like that and cut the other side. But first I have to measure 2 inches here. This is going to be the shorter edge. Make a mark at the 2 inch place. Okay. And I want to cut through that mark with the miter saw. This should be 2 inches long. So I made a stop block here. I put one of these in here so it stopped at this block. It's on the side of the blade, so this comes up against the blade and up against the stop block. Therefore, when I come in with the long piece, I just come up, cut it here, flip it, come up, cut it, flip it, cut, flip, cut, and just keep doing that, and they all should be exactly the same size. And here's the one I just cut. And there we go. They're the same size. Okay, I think that I'm going to have to cut his legs off. What I mean is, I think I'm going to have to put all the top pieces on this shell part, then cut off the excess, and then attach his legs. But what I might do is cut out this plus an extended bit so that I can put it underneath here and attach the legs. So the legs and the head will be on a lower level than the shell. It's not going to be extreme because it's still going to be flat-ish, you know. At least it'll be two different levels. And I think that's the only way I can figure out how to do it, because if I leave this on the same level, I'm not sure how to accurately place all the pieces I want to on here in the pattern that I want to, and then have overlap and cut that off without cutting the leg. I ended up changing these pieces. Now, the instructions I gave you showed me doing this with the two inches here. I changed it to 1 inch, but the same instructions apply, so you can still figure that out. Just so that I could get more pieces onto the shell, and it'd be more, I guess, design, so to speak, on the shell than with these big ones. The big ones would have fewer on the shell, but that's up to you if you did something like this, whether you would do the smaller or the bigger. So this is 1 inch on this side, okay? So let's get to cutting out this shell shape on the scroll saw and move on. Here is the cutout shell, and what we're going to be doing is just trying to figure out a pattern on here, just covering this entire thing with these. But before I do that, I'm going to paint these, but I've got to determine what my color scheme is and how many for each color, etc., etc. So I'll do that off camera, and then I'll come back and act like I knew what I was doing. Okay, I've divvied up the various little pieces according to how many I want for each color I'm going to do. These are how I'm going to do it. Now, I'm going to be using this vintage teal spray paint, and teal has 14 tiles for that color. And then we have true navy. True navy has 6 tiles. We have white, which has the most, and I think this is 16 tiles. And then we have up here a stain, which is dark walnut, and it has 6 tiles. So that's how we're going to divvy up the colors for the design on the turtle shell. And what I want to do is I'm going to paint them and then let it dry, and then we'll get to putting them on the shell. So I'm going to be painting these 6 tiles with this dark walnut, and I decided to go ahead and paint the shell. All of this is going to have the tiles glued to it, but I thought, why not? The legs and the head are going to have stain on them, so might as well just go ahead and do this too, because I especially want to do the sides. So thought I'd just get it done, especially since it takes longer than the paint to dry. It needs hours. Sometimes I have to pause from doing my projects and take care of an energetic little puppy. You've seen me make a dog bowl stand for my other dog on a previous video, but unfortunately he passed away in December of 2023. And we got a new puppy recently. This is Petey. And maybe at some point I'll make something for Petey in the workshop. I don't know. Petey. 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 Petey, what you want? Petey. So I read that it might be better if you're using wood glue to use it gluing bare wood against bare wood. So it might not be ideal to glue the tiles onto the stained wood. So what I'm going to do is sand this a little bit to see if it'll help the glue adhere better. I don't think it's going to be a big deal. I mean, this piece isn't going to be greatly stressed, but I'm going to sand it a little bit just to make it a little better to glue the pieces on. And then we will begin placing the pieces. Okay, I sanded this board as much as I could, really. I mean, I don't want it to disappear because I'm sanding it so much. So to see if you should make this project, save yourself some time and energy and potential bad turns by not putting anything over your backer board before you glue on your pieces, just so that the glue has a chance to adhere in the best way possible. So hopefully everything will go fine. Now let's get started. I think that I'm just going to cover the whole thing and just try to move fairly quickly to place the tiles, hopefully. I know the pattern I'm going to do, and I just hope I can execute it. Just going to cover this whole thing with glue and hope it doesn't dry too quickly as I'm placing. Just do not like working with glue. It's horrible. Horribly messy. We're going to place 2 of these and as centered as possible. I mean, you know, this isn't a perfect shape, so I'm just going to do the best I can as far as the positioning. So about there. Okay, and then we're going to surround it with white pieces. I was hoping it wouldn't come up above. Let's go here. I think. Go here. Here. And here. So now we're going to put brown here. Something here, I think brown here. And brown here, or stained rather, not brown. Okay. I'm going to do more of this, one beside this brown. Beside this side. Okay, and then this side. guess that's just going to be one. Well, we'll see how it shifts. And here, see how it's not a perfect shape. I might shift it over a little bit just to get a tiny bit more on both sides, but I better wait. And let's see, dark blue right here. We have a dark blue right here. And right here. These are all the dark blues taken care of. Now, what else? Oh, why is this the only place that has glue coming out, really? Let's see. Right here. What's here? This color. This color. There we go. Good. And one here. I have to do here. I think I'm doing white here, but let's maybe try to shift things a little bit, because I think I did extra white so that, and this is going to be, I did extra white so that I could put it in places. Okay, so this is what I wanted to do. I need something to hold this up. Okay. Okay, like that. And then, oops. So all the places where I have a little bit of the board showing, I'm going to be using white, I think. I have places here that need to be covered, and I'm just going to do white there. I thought I had done extra, but I guess I didn't. And I don't have any more. But I gotta have that covered. Okay, there we are. The whole thing is covered. I think the biggest challenge when I start trimming off the excess is going to be those places where I had to put a tiny bit on. Well, this probably is fine, or is it this side? But anyway, the small tiny places where I had to add on extra, like especially this side and this, there's going to be that little tiny sliver. I think that's going to be the biggest challenge as far as trimming it. And I think I'm going to make sure I wait 24 hours before I even mess with it, and so that I'm sure that the glue is completely dry. And then we'll be back and trim everything off, I think, with the scroll saw. Alright, y'all, so while the glue on the shell is drying, we're going to be making the head of the turtle and the legs. As I said earlier, I don't have the material to make the legs and the head all at once to go underneath the body, underneath the shell, so I have to piecemeal it like you see here. So what I've done is, this is a back leg, and this is a back leg. I hope you can see that. And I drew, this is the edge of the shell right here. So I drew a little extra on here that I will cut out so that I'll place a shell over it. And this part is what will be glued. This part is what will be exposed outside the shell. The same goes for this other back leg. And then this is one of the front legs. I hope I'm in focus. This is one of the front legs with the extra little tab here. I forgot to put the curved line that shows where the shell ends. I guess I'll just eyeball it. This is the head with extra here for the attachment part. And this part here is the other leg with an extra piece for attachment. Okay, now that the pieces are stained, I'm going to let them dry until tomorrow, and then we'll begin to put everything together. Okay, y'all, fingers crossed. We're going to trim all around this shell and trim off the excess pieces. I'm hoping that the places where it barely hangs on, like this piece here, is barely hanging on. I hope it doesn't break off in the friction of sawing it off. So I'm going to work at those places first, see how it goes. So let's do it. I'm nervous. I did put a new blade in here just to try to help matters. All right, wish me luck. Alrighty, there it is. I think it looks awesome. Looks like an egg, actually. I guess with a little better planning, I could have done some edging all the way around with the white here like this. So it looks a little weird with these tiny pieces of white that are not the same. I'm not going to sweat it. I still think it looks overall really cute. This edging here is all bare, so I'm going to, as carefully as I can, go in with a small paintbrush and paint on some stain just for that, and go all the way around. I'm going to do that first before I attach the legs. As far as the legs, I completely forgot again not to stain over the place where I'm going to use the glue, because this is going to go underneath. I'm not sure if this is the right side. Anyway, this is going to go underneath. The part that should be attached shouldn't have anything on it except bare wood, but I forgot again, like I did earlier with this whole, when I stained this bottom plate, the whole thing instead of just the edges, whatever. So I'm going to go in and get these edges with the stain, and then I'll be right back. I'll put the stain on the sides. I'll let you see, so you can see that. And it's time to glue this thing up. Just spread it out a little bit. I hope I don't want to overdo the glue. Whoops. This one has to be out a little bit like that. This one, I think here like this. Maybe like that. Doesn't have to be perfect. Let's go ahead and do these. I'm not sure how much of this bottom foot comes out. might go like as much as that. Yeah. Try not to drop glue everywhere. Like that. Looks good. And then the head. Yeah, the head is that much. Let's give it a little turn like he's in the act of swimming. What do you think? Yeah, why not? And I'm going to sit something on top of them to make sure it's making good contact. And that's our turtle.